Welcome to Revitalize and Replant with Mark Clifton, where we equip pastors to take their churches from declining to thriving by pointing them to a new future and a new hope. Join us weekly for encouragement and practical advice in your pastoring journey.
It is Revitalize and Replant with Mark Clifton. There's Mark Hallock.
Hey.
Right there.
What's up, guys?
Sitting there. I'm Dan Hurst. Hallock's got a NAMB shirt on. That's a cool shirt. I like that, man. Where'd you get that?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, you got a what shirt on?
They give them around.
Cool.
A what shirt?
It's a NAMB shirt.
Oh, NAMB.
NAMB.
Oh, good.
We're representing, baby.
That worried me a little bit there.
It's
NAMB.
He's got the Columbia. See, I
know.
Man, I'll leave.
Clifton, you got one of these.
I got one of those. I'm going to wear mine tomorrow.
Yeah,
the North American Mission Board shirt.
Where do I get one?
We'll bring you one tomorrow.
We can get you one. We can hook you up.
We'll hook you up.
You got a big one?
Yeah, I know.
A tent size?
Yeah. So what size do you wear? I don't know. The more X's, the better is what I always say.
That's it, yeah. All right. We are in the hallowed halls of the North American Mission Board in the podcast studio itself, where everything happens. And they don't know we're here.
That's right.
This may be our last podcast here today.
That's right.
We have a special guest for today, and Clifton, introduce him.
Yeah, first of all, I noticed in this podcast studio they got a bunch of Tic Tacs.
Tic Tacs.
Yeah. That won't bother you, will it? If I eat these while we have the...
Let me take my headphones off first.
They do. They got Tic Tacs in here.
Who are we with?
You want a Tic Tac?
I'm going to take them away
Take
from
a Tic Tac.
Hey, who's this? Who's this?
By the way,
if
anybody ever offers you a breath mint, you should take it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Don't ever refuse a breath mint. There's
Word of wisdom.
Where's the wisdom there?
Yeah.
My wife told me that one time. We were in the car that day, and she goes, "You want a breath mint?" No, she says, "You need to take a breath mint." Hey, we're here with Brandon.
Brandon Moore.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Thank you,
guys.
Brandon. Brandon is on our team. As we're doing these podcasts, we had Andy Addis, who's on our team leading rural. We had Colin, who's on our team leading urban. And now we have Brandon, who does many, many things, including partnerships with state conventions and stuff and associations. But next generation.
Oh, yeah.
Next generation. Dan, you and I are the previous generation.
Well, we're the X generation.
So I'm gonna step aside here a little bit.
It's great.
And I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Hallock.
Well,
and
I'll tell
Mr.
you what.
Hallock and Mr. Moore, you're going to take this podcast to a whole nother level.
Another level. Well, first of all, bud, this has been a big week for Brandon, because his church that he's leading.
I can tell you have a Tic Tac.
You have a Tic Tac in your mouth. All right, well, I'll do this. So the church that he's leading, Brandon on our team, man, under the leadership of the Holy Spirit and with the great support of his wife, he moved to Denver, to Inglewood, to mentor and to intern with you for a while at the Calvary Network. And then he's hooked up with the SALT Network, which is an incredible place. They'll tell you more about that. All to go to Knoxville, Tennessee, right at the very gates of the University of Tennessee.
That's right.
To a church that was struggling and having difficult time, needed to be replanted, like so many churches in college communities. There are all these church buildings in college communities that are just declining. And so he went there with the intention of working with the SALT Company and with Calvary Network and with the local church there. He'll tell you more about that, the sponsoring church and the state convention, all these wonderful partners. And man, they had their launch Sunday a couple of weeks ago.
Kind of killed it by
and
God's
you
grace.
couldn't fit more people. You were out of chairs.
Yeah, it was wild. Only the Lord could have written a story like this.
Tell us about
so
the
go
day.
for it.
Yeah. I mean, tell us about the last few weeks. It's been nuts.
Yeah, it has. I mean, literally, it was 1 week ago yesterday that we relaunched the church. And so we got there last October, started shepherding the crew that was left. There's probably 20 to 25 folks, and we got there last October. But honestly, like, the Lord's brought a team. We had about 50 people make the move with us to Knoxville. So that's a really unique.
Where did they come from?
Yeah, well, most of them connected to SALT Network, part of SALT companies at some point.
All right, so now we got to take just a minute and talk about SALT Company.
Yeah, so SALT Network is a network of churches within SBC Life that plants churches in college towns with a college ministry called a SALT Company. And so believe in that collegiate ministry being integral into the life of the local church. And we value every generation, but we champion the next generation. And so we're really their first intentional replant out of the gate. But we knew in a town like Knoxville that there's a lot of dying churches and a lot of opportunity to not just plant a new church, but to replant a church near campus. And so we made the move to Knoxville not knowing what church we were replanting. We just knew for about the last 4 years that God was calling us. Lord opened the door for us to make the move.
And so the Salt Company in the basically started out at University of Iowa in Ames, Iowa.
That's right. Yeah.
And now it's been in several different college communities.
Yes, so we're at 40 different college campuses now.
And so
they have a huge sending culture. I mean, they reach the next generation, raise them up, and then there's this passion to go out and spend at least the next couple years out of college, if not longer, on investing in the kingdom.
So what they do is these kids, these young people who've gone through the SALT network and they're ready to graduate, they intentionally look for a job in Knoxville, so they can intentionally come with you and intentionally help replant a church.
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
That is a Southern Baptist Convention. That is the SALT Network. And those of you who don't think anything good's going on anymore, when you've got college students at a secular university who go through this amazing ministry and at the time of graduation say, I want to give a couple years of my life to help replant a church, and they go with you. That's where the 50 came from, right?
Yeah. And some of them like made the move without having a job yet. Like they just showed up and they're like, the Lord will provide, and their steps of faith. Let me tell you, their steps of faith have reinvigorated the life of so many of our long-term saints that were a part of Belmont Heights Baptist Church.
Give us an example. You've shared about one of the couples, for instance.
Yeah, we were just we had kind of a thank you gathering after lunch with our core team, and just asked people to share their God stories of what He's been doing. And we had one couple that they've just been lit up by. They've had some of our residents in their home, and
this is a long haul couple.
Yeah, they've been there for decades.
Now we know the whole story, and people trying to listen are trying to catch up. So the church that you went to replant is Belmont
Heights Baptist Church.
An old church down to about 20 or so.
So it was 99 years old this year.
And the church that took them and adopted them is what church?
So we're Concord. First Baptist Concord in Knoxville. Actually, a few years back, they reached out for help because coming out of COVID, they got down to 6 or so people. At Belmont did, and they reached out to Concord, a healthy church in our town, and said we need help. And so Concord came in, made them a congregation of their church, and sent a campus pastor, and had some successes, but also struggled, learned some lessons of revitalization and replanting.
So here's the partnerships you got. You get a dying church named Belmont. You've got a caring and loving and supportive sponsoring church named Concord. You've got the SALT Network. These 40 campus churches across North America raising up young people. You've got the Southern Baptist Convention and the North American Mission Board Replant Team, because you're on that team. And then we got Mark Hallock and the Calvary Network of churches that focus primarily on replanting dying churches. And the Lord brought all of these partners together. Dude, this is the best story you've never heard before. And so you launched 2 weeks ago. And how many did you have? I know we don't want to talk about numbers, but we want to talk about these numbers. How many did you have?
We had over 250. I mean, it was wild. Incredible. I mean, we had to bring out chairs and chairs. I kept realizing thing after thing. There's like, I don't think we have enough bread for communion. I don't think we've got enough room to do like the new guest thing that we were planning on, and we just kept pivoting, and the Lord provided.
And that was the Sunday morning service.
That was
and
Sunday morning
then the very
service,
first SALT event at the campus of the university
happened that Tuesday night.
Happened that Tuesday night, and I saw pictures of that, and that was massive.
Yeah, we had like 150 students, and they've got a million things going on that campus. So for 150 students to show up for a worship service, not a bunch of flash.
Right.
Like, I mean, we have a lot of fun, but we also it's serious. Like our SALT director got up there and preached the prodigal son, and was like killed it. So I mean, we saw multiple students profess faith in Jesus, and a ton of them show up this past Sunday, and it's just been it's a story that only God could write. So, only He could bring together.
Brothers and sisters, this is your Southern Baptist Convention. This is your Tennessee Baptist Convention. This is the Knoxville Association. This is Concord Church, Belmont Church, Calvary Network of churches, the North American Mission Board, and Brandon Moore and his family all coming together. All right,
it's the power of partnership.
Now we've set the table.
That's it.
Go for it.
So in light of all that, Brandon, talk to us about why reaching the next generation is so important. And I think specifically as we think through opportunities with replanting and revitalization. I think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Is even just knowing, is we've played just one little part of this, but seeing how many college students are now part of this new replant, and they're so excited about just being encouraging the folks who've been there. Let's talk about the next generation, because the key is, we know, is mobilizing the next generation to be part of this vision for renewal across the country.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see God's heart for the next generation all over Scripture. I mean, you see the impact we can have on the next generation, and that, like, our sins are passed on to the third and fourth generation, and then, like, the effects of those, as well as the blessings, all right, beyond even the third and fourth generation. And so God has a huge heart for the next generation. For Paul has a fourth generation vision that he gives to Timothy. He invests in Timothy, who's to invest in faithful men who will be able to teach others also. And so there's a biblical precedent for champion the next generation. But there's also, when you see big moves of God historically in the life of the church, revivals, awakenings, how often? Most of them start with the next generation.
These younger people,
and they start on college campuses a lot of times. Particularly here in America, and so it's a way that God's consistently moved. And even just if you look around, if you know any college students today, like you begin to hear about what God's doing on college campuses. It's not just Salt Network. Salt Network is one piece, but God's doing it with Campus Crusade, a crew at UT. He's doing it with a variety of different movements, and so God's at work in a unique way. And so we say we value every generation, and we do. We believe every generation's vital, and every generation's going to benefit from us championing the next generation.
I love that.
Because the next generation energizes the older generations, inspires them and catalyzes them to continue in the game. But the next generation also benefits and gives senior saints, seasoned saints as we call them, the opportunity to pour in a way that they may not physically be able to invest like they used to be. But man, the wisdom they bring to the table is what this next generation is longing for, because the reality is information is out there like crazy. Like students can have it all at their fingertips. They can find whatever content they want, but they don't have wisdom at their fingertips. And seasoned saints do.
It's interesting because Dan, this is cool. I'm just watching you two. I'm going, hey, these are two different worlds, but it's same family. Because Dan leads a congregation of a couple hundred senior saints.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to him and these young people, and how God brings these two together. What's going through your mind, Dan, as you're here, as you're listening to this?
The first thing that went through my mind was I got saved as a result of that. I was part of the Jesus People movement. I got saved out of that, and so to hear you talk, it's just like my life's flashing before my eyes. It's the same thing. Over. It's just the way that God works. It's just the way He does. And about every 20, 25 years, we see some sort of movement, in America that is similar to this. And it sounds like we're seeing the beginning of this movement again. And you're right on the cusp of that, and that's exciting to be a part of that. The unique thing about it is that, and I saw this when I got saved also, was the senior saints, or the seasoned saints as you call them, their desire. When I got saved, it was the older folks in the church who embraced me.
Right.
They were the ones, that learned my name, and called me by name, when I'd come to church. And so there was that intergenerational connection there that they started.
Yeah.
It wasn't us young guys, young Christians, going and finding out who the senior adults were and meeting them and going, learning their names. It was the other way around. And so the senior adults see this, I think, and I'm seeing it happen in our church too. They see young Christians as a responsibility to invest in them and their desire to build a ministry that will make an impact for generations to come, just as those senior saints have done. So, connect them. That's the exciting thing. Give them opportunities. And people who listen to this podcast, I would venture to say that most of the churches that we connect with are predominantly older people. Wouldn't you not?
I think that's fair.
And the folks in your church, Pastor, they're looking for young people. They're looking for this next generation. You know, they're probably more excited about it than we get. You know, because they've been longing to see that. You know, they're the ones who say, "Oh, we need to see young people in our church." Well, young people to them in their church is anybody under the age of 30, and so it's exciting, you know, to see that. But it is also an open door to give them an opportunity to build that relationship. Just like in your church, Hallock, you intentionally built relationships between the older generations and the younger generations.
Brandon, what are some of the things you guys have done intentionally to build some of those relationships? I mean, you're coming into this declining church, these seasoned saints. What have you guys, your team, these college students, what have you intentionally sought to do to kind of build those relationships?
Yeah, well, I mean, the classic SBC thing of a potluck, all right? It's not too old school,
not rocket
all right?
Science,
No,
but
let me tell you, just graduated college students have no clue how to potluck, and so you got to lean in on your
unless you want ramen.
That's awesome.
Right.
So you'll hit the ramen table.
First time we pulled it off, you know, it was a bit of an adventure, but the community was really great. So what we did was we actually handed out playing cards, and we had a playing, like, you know, an ace of hearts on the table, and they got an ace of hearts, and so it forced everybody not to go to where their generation was, and it forced them to intermingle, and the conversations that happened were awesome. So we did some of that, like formal type of stuff, but then also like we've challenged our younger generation to go and pursue the older generation, because I think a lot of times they feel funny about pursuing and like, oh, do they really want me and that kind of thing. And so, like, I love what our college ministry director did was he required some of our college leaders to actually go and grab coffee or grab a meal with some of our long-term Belmont folks.
And you were talking earlier about the long-term Belmont folks that are now pumped.
Yes.
So go back to that story. Okay, there we go.
So we got to hear I was almost in tears Thursday night to hear how one lady just began to share her story of just the struggle over the years, 7 pastors in 15 years, and just it just harder and harder to stay connected to the church. And as she saw more people come back, she started to okay, well, maybe I need to just lean in a little bit. And she had some of those residents come over and grab dinner with her, and she said, you know, you guys are thanking me for showing up and serving at the hospitality team, but I'm thanking you because you guys have rejuvenated and renewed me. God has used you to renew my passion and love for Him. And we're on fire for the first time in years. And they are. They're running around that church on Sunday morning, and this couple, the husband has Parkinson's, and that's a weighty, health issue. But let me tell you, he is. The Lord has invigorated him, and he is serving as much or more than many of our college students.
So how important is
amazing.
Guys who are listening to this podcast who are in older churches, don't have any young people, and talk to me about how much young people love to be with older people, right? Haven't you seen that?
They love it.
Yes, they love to soak up, learning about the history of the community, learning about, what it's like to raise kids, learning what it's like to navigate the different seasons of life. So they soak up that wisdom and that relational time. They love serving alongside them. It's been a beautiful thing. But, I think a big part of it is also being getting that investment, but also seeing an older generation entrust them with real ministry.
It's two sides, isn't it?
It's two sides, yeah, because a lot of times, there may be the willingness to be in relationship, but we're going to hold on to control because, hey, you don't have much experience yet. And it's well, I don't know about you guys, but the best way I learned ministry was kind of be thrown in the deep end oftentimes and just failing. And so our long-termers have really given a lot of freedom to our students or to our young leaders and entrusted them with a whole lot, and they have stepped up and they go hard. And so when we were reaching out to campus, some of us that I'm not even I'm 36 years old and I'm one of the old guys, all right, at this point. And so I showed up on campus with some of our other long-term Belmont folks, and we didn't try to connect with all the college students, because the best people to connect with college students are other people that are either college students or just out of college. So they didn't need to connect with me. They needed to connect with our other core team. So I flipped pancakes for hours out there, and so did some of our other, just so that we supported them so they could do the work of the ministry.
All right.
And that's that. Ephesians 4, right?
Yep.
We're equipping and unleashing them for the work of the ministry, not trying to do it all ourselves.
That's awesome.
Hey, listen, let's keep this conversation going.
I agree. And by the way, people who are listening, there are probably a lot of college communities with dying and declining churches, and we're going to put your connections into our show notes, and they can talk to you about what you did, maybe some SALT Network. There are other collegiate networks besides SALT Network and Hallock's network. And just real quick, you moved to Denver.
Yep.
For a year?
For about 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10
Oh, I'm
weeks.
sorry. Okay.
With 4 little boys.
It seemed like a year.
It did.
Right.
With 4 little boys making a move for.
So, but you moved for 10 weeks, so you could absorb what Mark was teaching and that. So how guys can come and hang out with you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
Oh yeah.
10
come
weeks.
to Denver, man.
Come to Denver.
Come for a summer and just be with us and learn together. I think Brandon would say it was fast, but man, it was a sweet time.
It was an incredible season.
Of growing
really
together.
got to learn, just soak up the culture. You can hear about it from afar, but there's nothing like jumping in to the shepherding meetings you guys do and just seeing and hearing the heartbeat for the people up close and personal. Learned a ton.
Kyle will put in the show notes Mark's connections there
Absolutely.
too. So man, that's what we want to talk about. These kind of partnerships empower people.
Amen.
And they're God's way of doing this kind of kingdom work.
I can't speak highly enough of the idea of radical collaboration and the stuff you guys talk about with CFC. That's why we're able to have so many partners at the table, because everyone from First Baptist Concord to SALT Network to Calvary Family of Churches all carry such a kingdom-minded, humble orientation that we're willing to say, hey, we all have something to learn from one another. Let's get in and do this because it's
I love it.
Sounds great. All right, man.
Life is a tapestry, is it not?
It is. It is.
And that wraps up this podcast of Revitalize and Replant with Mark Clifton. Thank you so much. And thank you for supporting us. And you support us by letting us know that you listen, by subscribing, by letting other folks know about the podcast that may could learn something from what we talk about. And thank you to the North American Mission Board for making this possible. And Brandon, by the way, if the ministry thing doesn't work out, ESPN is looking for
you got
voice.
a great voice, man. What a set of pipes, right?
Get it right, Lee. It runs through the family.
That is awesome.
Thanks for joining us today on Revitalize and Replant. This podcast is brought to you by the North American Mission Board, where we help dying or struggling churches regain health for the glory of God and the good of their communities. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. To learn more about becoming a replanting pastor or to explore resources about revitalization for your own church, visit churchreplanters.com.